everyone, welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little bit of insight into what it all means. Joining us, as always, is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the internet, coming to you live from right here at the Stream.TV studios here in Hollywood, California, and we are so glad you decided to make us part of your day. Also here, writer-director John Schnepp.
Song, well, it's not. Now play that backwards. Who plays the guitar, man? That guy's just jamming out. I want to see that guy just playing, man. And then he's like, does the point, and then the drummer starts kicking in.
And also here, AMC's Mark Ellis.
Yeah, see, I was going to say the drums are my favorite part of that. When it really, because it teases you for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we're jamming.
Hey, listen, guys, before we get going, a couple of things I wanted to announce here. First of all, we wanted to honor everybody for Veterans Day. And one of the ways that AMC is participating in Veterans Day today is that if you are a veteran, active member of the military services today, you can go to an AMC theater and see the new movie Fury on Us. So all you need is a valid military ID, and that movie is on us. And thank you for your service and everything that you do and you sacrifice for this country and your country's allies around the world. Being Canadian, I want to thank you too. I also want to let you guys know I don't often announce stuff outside of AMC, but I know a lot of you guys often write in and ask questions about Arrow and things like that. So I wanted to let you know, as some of you might know, I do an Arrow after show here at the Stream with Ann and Kaori. And tomorrow night, we have Stephen Amell, the Green Arrow himself, is going to be in here in studio with us to talk about Arrow. So make sure you come on back to the Stream tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Los Angeles time, to check that out as well. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get to today's first topic.
With production ramping up on his new film, The Hateful Eight director Quentin Tarantino is once again talking about his upcoming retirement. In a recent interview, he said the following: "I don't believe you should stay on stage until people are begging you to get off. I like the idea of leaving them wanting a bit more. I do think directing is a young man's game, and I like the idea of an umbilical cord connection from my first to my last movie. I'm not trying to ridicule anyone who thinks differently, but I want to go out while I'm still hard. I like that I will leave a 10-film filmography, and so I've got 2 more to go after this. It's not etched in stone, but that is the plan. If I get to the 10th, do a good job, and don't screw it up, well, that sounds like a good way to end the old career." John, what do you think of Tarantino's comments?
Well, on the one hand, I like that everything he's saying is right. I mean, you want to go when you're leaving wanting a little bit more. I like the idea of having a 10-film set. That's a nice round number and all that kind of stuff. I get it, I buy that, but who's he kidding? He's not going to retire. How many times have we heard famous musicians or directors or actors or whatever saying, "Oh, I'm retiring now"? He's not going to retire. No, he's not. And he even said in his own comment, he left that door open. Yeah, he goes, not etched in stone. And then I think later on, he said, now, if I've done 10 films and a great idea for a movie comes along, I'm not going to not do it just because I said I was only going to do 10. So then you're not retired, really. You mean you're not going to make any more movies unless you have a really good idea for a new movie? Isn't that what you do right now? So, and I'm glad he's not. But the one thing he said in this comment that I take very big issue with, Tarantino, you 51-year-old man, is this notion that, directing's for young guys. Directing's for young guys, right? It reminded me the other day, I'm not a big fan of Bill Maher, but I don't hate Bill Maher, I'm not a big fan of him, but he went on this big rant the other day about ageism in our culture, whereas every other culture in our world understands you venerate and you celebrate people who are older, more experienced, wiser, all that kind of stuff, except our culture. We follow Justin Bieber. So, and he talks about how, you look at the greatest, the biggest, the most brilliant minds, they're all older because they've been around longer, right? So this whole idea that directing is a young man's game. Okay, just a couple of names I jotted down here, okay? Joss Whedon is 50 years old. All right. Steven Spielberg is 67. Martin Scorsese is 71. Clint Eastwood won an Academy Award for Best Director at the age of 76. And at the age of 84, he's got American Sniper coming out right now. David Fincher is 52. Peter Jackson is 53. Wes Anderson is a baby at 45. Terrence Malick is 71. Paul Thomas Anderson. Tarantino himself, I said, is 51. And Nolan, who's also a baby, is 44. But he's only getting better as he goes. Like, we were just talking about this beforehand, like Interstellar. Why I didn't love Interstellar? The same Christopher Nolan who directed The Dark Knight would not have done as good of a job directing Interstellar as a 44-year-old Christopher Nolan did directing Interstellar. So I don't buy into this whole thing that directing is just a young man's game. No. Give me older, more seasoned directors who have been there, done that, understand storytelling and the genre better. Not that there aren't great young filmmakers too, there are. But this whole notion that he's going to retire, I love the sentiment of leave the stage and leave him wanting more. Love the sentiment, but he ain't going to retire. Anyway, Schnepp, you've heard his comments. What do you think?
He's not going to retire. He's just not going to retire. I mean, he's gone on record saying, and I agree that sometimes directors and writers and actors will stay in the game too long. So that's what he's referencing that. Mm-hmm. But what he should not be, what he should be throwing in is Miyazaki, who retired and now he just came out of retirement to say, look, I'm going to be doing anime.
After he retired for like 1 year.
For 1 year, but then he realized, I'm going to be doing anime until I die. Yeah. And if it's in your blood, it's in your blood. And you might say that because you're kind of thinking about it, but he's thinking about it outside of himself. I think that when people say these kinds of things, like Kevin Smith said he was retiring, it's because it's all, they're looking in the mirror. It's not all this outside stuff. It's them saying, I feel like I want to stay, I want my, like you said, the 10-box set. I don't want to make a stinker movie. That's the worry of it. Like, I want to retire before I screw up. It's like, you'll never know that. Your next movie could suck.
Yeah.
It could totally blow, and then your next 5 would be incredible and amazing. So you have to always be ready to take those risks. Or if you're not, like he's saying, he's like, I want to go out while I'm still hard, and I got my, everything working right. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a weird thing to say, especially when he's like right at this amazing area in his career. He's just projecting. He's like, maybe I got 3 movies left. That's 7 years. I'm 60. I don't want to be doing this. Who knows? But I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's just saying that. I mean, he probably truly believes it, otherwise he wouldn't say it.
Yeah.
But I don't believe it.
And you know what? I'll stand in the minority. Tarantino's another guy like Nolan that I think his directing, not necessarily the films overall, but I believe his directing is getting better and better and better. Like like Django Unchained is not just a great movie, great script. Like the direction in that movie is incredible, and I want to see him directing till he's in his late 70s.
Inglourious Basterds. It was just on for 5 minutes. I was like, I'll watch it. I watched the entire movie.
And Mark,
look, this is, good, it's my turn to talk, okay. No, look, I think that this is just what happens when you put somebody who loves to talk on stage and he keeps talking. You're gonna say stupid stuff eventually. Yeah. It happens to me on a daily basis. Like, you get into this world and you're like, oh no, then maybe I'll retire after this or after this. And your mind starts thinking and you start saying these words and you're like, oh my God, did I just announce my retirement? Yes, filmmaking is an exhausting process. So I imagine that at various points in his career, he's been like, this is the last one. He might have said, I'm done after Jackie Brown. He might have been, I can't do this anymore. And then you start to rest, you recuperate. This is what happens. And as far as the ageism thing goes, it's crazy to think that, oh no, directing's a young man's game. There's a lot of great young directors that are coming on that aren't as known as the guys that you mentioned, but that's not going to force out anybody, especially somebody with the stature of a Quentin Tarantino. He could be directing into his 90s, into his hundreds if he wanted to, if he was still alive. And people would see the movie because they like his vision.
All right, what's next?
According to reports, Warner Brothers and their upcoming film Wonder Woman have made an offer to a female director to helm the new movie. In an interview with Forbes, director Lexi Alexander claimed to even know who it was, saying the following. If she says yes, everybody will be very happy, including me. Still, I don't see at this point why anyone would say yes. There is huge pressure. If a female director does fail, then all of a sudden, it's all women suck at directing. A rumored short list of potential directors includes names like Catherine Bigelow, Zero Dark 30, Catherine Hardwicke, Twilight, Mimi Leder, Deep Impact, and Michelle Maxwell McLaren, Breaking Bad. Schnepp, if Alexander is right, who could you see directing Wonder Woman?
I believe Lexi Alexander, didn't she direct Punisher Warzone?
Yeah, damn right she did.
And
she did a great job of that.
I think she did a great job too. That's a much maligned film. I think it's awesome. And it's like, I wish they made another Punisher Warzone.
I thought it was the only guy who loved that movie.
No, it's you, me, and Patton Oswalt. We had a long discussion with him. We were like just talking about how awesome Punisher Warzone is.
I'll throw my hat in the Ray Stevenson camp.
Yeah, Ray Stevenson is great. So make another Punisher Warzone. What's going on, Marvel? Ray, what's up with a colorized picture of Wonder Woman? That's my only comment about that. But you know what? We all know the name in the game. It's Catherine Bigelow. Because she is like aces. All the other directors that they mentioned, the female directors, are great. But Catherine Bigelow is the one. She did Strange Days. She did Near Dark. She knows her genre. She knows how to direct action. She won an Oscar.
Point Break.
She's the only one.
Multiple Academy Award nominated films.
Yeah, she's so talented.
Point Break.
Yeah, right?
You.
Point Break.
Yeah.
I mean, she's incredible. So, I mean, all the other all the other directors, They've done okay films, and some they've done good films, not any great films. Catherine Bigelow, great, amazing films.
Mark, what about you?
I think that comment by Alexi Alexander is pretty silly. I think that is just as damning to women directing films as a bad Wonder Woman would be. If you're going to step up and say, oh, well, we probably shouldn't do this because if it sucks, we're going to get attacked, then you shouldn't be directing it. Somebody else should who's willing to take a risk, okay? Look, you're going to get criticism if the movie isn't good. I think we've come to the point in our society when it's not just going to be because you were a woman directing the movie that it wasn't good.
Right.
Like, I'm tired of hearing about this crap. When I saw Point Break, I loved it because I was a kid that likes action movies. I didn't find out that Catherine Bigelow directed and be like, wait, a chick directed that movie? I don't like it as much now,
right.
you know? Maybe that's just me. Maybe people are concerned about this backlash towards women directors if Wonder Woman isn't good, but I don't think that's going to be the reason why it succeeds or fails, if it's a woman directing it or not.
Yes, but, and I don't know how often you get told this, you are smarter than the average person.
I never.
Because
that's literally the first time.
I don't know if you've ever been around YouTube comment section. There are some really stupid people out there.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. If they bring on a female director, whether it's good or not good, will have nothing to do with whether the director was female. But there are a lot of idiots out there, backwards thinking morons, who if they get a female director and if Wonder Woman doesn't work, regardless of anything about all the intricacies about Wonder Woman, they're just going to go sit back, oh, it's because, see, they shouldn't have gotten a woman to direct it. There are a lot of stupid people out there.
If you say that, if you're Alexi Alexander and you say that and you acknowledge that, doesn't that hurt your cause when you're saying like, oh, well, look, they're going to blame us, so we probably shouldn't take the risk?
I don't think it's ever wrong to state what is true. And what she's saying is true. There are going to be people that do that. And she's just bringing up that it's going to be dangerous. It's going to be hard to do because you're going to be pegged and blah, blah, blah. Out of that list, the person I would get is Catherine Bigelow. You're right, absolutely. That's a no-brainer. But the person I would actually get is Lexi Alexander herself. Because of the job she did on that Punisher film, super low budget, when everybody had already written that character off because of the Punisher that came before it. I mean, I just thought that movie was sick. And to put a Wonder Woman in her hands, I would love it. Now, she's already said she's not the one.
Right.
And that's
she
fine.
really knows how to direct action.
Yeah,
I mean, so,
great action.
yeah.
And then now, you can't do that hard R stuff she did
Right.
in that Punisher film, but if you can do that really over-the-top hard R stuff, then I trust that person to reel it in more and to deliver high-intensity stuff that isn't hard R. I would have loved to have seen her do it. So interesting comments all the way around. All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for Buy or Sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Ash, she's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. Then those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
Director Matt Reeves recently sat down to talk about the upcoming third installment of the Planet of the Apes franchise, which is scheduled to hit AMC theaters on July 29, 2016. Reeves said the following. The first one is sort of how Caesar goes from humble beginnings to becoming a revolutionary. In Dawn, he really rose to occasion of becoming a leader in really challenging and difficult times. The notion of what we're after with the third is to sort of continue that trajectory and see how he becomes a seminal figure in ape history. He almost becomes sort of like an ape Moses, a mythic status. We're trying to play out those themes and continue to sort of explore it in this universe, exploring human nature under the guise of apes. Mark, what stands out to you about Reeves' comments?
The most striking thing to me, as the biblical scholar that I am, is that if you call him an ape Moses, then Moses didn't quite make it to the promised land. He got to the 1 yard line and couldn't quite get the ball over the plane. So if that's the case, then we may see Caesar set up this new world and then actually see Caesar pass away and have to give the torch to somebody else in this new film. And then on top of that, it's just so exciting to see a director with a vision like this that I loved this last Apes movie. I thought it was so good, and I cannot wait to see where this franchise goes. It's in such capable hands with Matt Reeves.
We already have seen them do great things with the character, right? But Reeves is right, and I love that he's pointing it out. We have yet to see Caesar attain that mythical level, that mythological level. I think we're going to see a degree of heroism and bravery and courage out of Caesar to finally dominate, to take over the world. That's going to set him up as this iconic legend that, you know, the 2,000 years later, Charlton Heston Apes revere as, oh, the one who did all this, Caesar, you know, that sort of stuff. I love the vision that they have, because the vision they have is not about, we're going to have this battle in New York, we're going to have this battle. His vision that he wants to talk about is character. And that's exciting to me when I hear a guy do that, because you know he can do the action. That's going to come.
right.
But I love it when he's going to talk about it. The first thing that's on his head is character, character, character. I think that's great.
Yeah, I also like that they're not saying, and we're ending it with a trilogy, because why?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I buy it. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, I buy it too. I don't buy his hipstery, I'm from the Wild West, ravenous outcast character.
Doesn't he look like Val Kilmer from, what's that Western?
Tombstone.
Tombstone. He looks like Val Kilmer from Tombstone.
Yeah, like a
there.
hipster cowboy. So, but I like the way he directs stuff, and he's a great writer too. So, yeah, I mean, I think making this third one, knowing that we're going to probably get a fourth and a fifth and a sixth Apes film is great, because he's setting up the history of the Apes, this new version of it. If you're a fan of the original Planet of the Apes, then you know how that went, 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth one is really, really good. So we're kind of like they've invigorated the entire franchise. So I can't wait to see what happens with this third film. And I keep forgetting that's only a year and a half away. I'm glad it's not like 2019.
Yeah, I like that they're bringing it on quick. All right, what's next?
As many of you know, actor Toby Kebbell is set to play the villain in the upcoming Fantastic Four reboot, hitting AMC theaters on August 7th. However, in a recent interview with Collider, Kebbell has revealed several major changes to his Doctor Doom character from the comic books. First, his name will just be Doom instead of Doctor Doom. His real name will be Victor Domashev instead of Victor Von Doom. And instead of being the leader of the fictional nation of Viria, he's an antisocial programmer who posts under the online handle Doom. John, what is your reaction to all these changes?
Okay, you know what? My initial reaction is, why would you do all that? But, and I'm going to be really unpopular by urging caution in our reaction here, all right? Is this a departure? It looks like a departure, but let's step back a few years. Let's go back to that Christopher Nolan film, Batman Begins, or more specifically, The Dark Knight. Okay, there have been several iterations of what the Joker's backstory is, but most of them all revolve around this. He was a gangster. He was Red Hood for a bit. Because of, or indirectly because of, an altercation with Batman, he ends up in a vat full of chemicals that causes this and that. They got rid of all of that for The Dark Knight. There's none of that. He wasn't a gangster before. He wasn't the Red Hood. There was no running into the Batman who threw him into the chemicals, blah, blah, blah. This is almost identical to that situation. And if you had said to a lot of the online fanboys like us at the time, hey, yeah, the new Joker never was Red Hood, never was a gangster, didn't become the Joker because of Batman, didn't get thrown in a vat of chemicals, we all would have been up in arms with pitchforks saying, you're not giving us the real Joker. But what happened? We saw Heath Ledger's iteration of the Joker, and while it was unique, it completely captured the spirit and the darkness and all that kind of stuff of what we imagine the Joker to be. Is all this stuff that Toby Kebbell's talking about a big departure? Absolutely is. Could it be a disastrous turn? Yes, it might. But let's remember the lesson we learned about the Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker. Let's see if the Doom he gives us, while all that background stuff may not be completely changed, that when he dons the armor, when he becomes Doom, does he do what Heath Ledger does? Does he capture the essence and the darkness and the heart of what the character is, despite the fact that they changed? Look, I actually like that they changed his name from Victor Von Doom, leader of the mythological fake nation Latveria. I'm okay with all that. Antisocial programmer whose online handles Doom. Okay, you got me there. That's a little strange. You got me. But let's wait till we see some stuff about what this Doom is going to look like and what he's going to act like before we get too worked up. Because like I said, just think about Heath Ledger's Joker and the background there, and that was a little bit scary too, and it worked out just fine. So I don't know. Am I being overly optimistic, Mark, or what's going on?
My first thought when I read the news was I'm selling this because Victor Von Doom did not go to evil medical school for all those years to just be called Doom. But then you start to think about it, and you're like, you know what? The Fantastic Four has been around for a long time, and it's one of the the cornerstone, or was one of the cornerstones of the Marvel comic book series. It was one of their core franchises, and I think that they're trying to make it a little more grounded in reality, make it a little more gritty. And so I don't have a huge problem with any of these changes. Having said that, once he turns into Doom and he becomes he goes from being a blogger in his grandma's basement or whatever he's starting out as, once he becomes Doom, I want to see the guy that we used to read about in the comic books, and hopefully, because he's got all this technological wherewithal already, we can see Doom bots. That's what I'm really hoping for in this new film, is to see at least a setup for Doom bots.
Well, because he's a computer programmer, those Doombots will probably be inside the internet. Is that cool? Yeah, that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like, I'm so on the fence on this. I don't know whether to buy or sell it. I really like Trank. I like that he's trying different things. I know a lot about this movie. I have insider knowledge, so it's almost like I don't want to talk too much about it, but this is one of those things to me that I just have to wait and see. Like when I first heard about it, I was angry. Then I thought about it. I was like, well, basically they're changing everything about the Fantastic Four. It's nothing like the original 1963 origin, nor should it be unless it was set in 1963, and they're doing a faithful adaptation. We live in 2014 now. The movie's coming out in 2015. I don't have any problem with updating the characters. I do have a little bit of a problem with Doctor Doom getting superpowers. Once again, he goes into, this negative zone with the Fantastic Four and comes out with like weird electrical. I don't know which producer keeps demanding that Doctor Doom have electrical powers, but I'll throttle you if I ever meet you because it bugs me just as a Stan Lee, Jack Kirby fan. That being said, I'm going to just wait and see on everything that has to do with the Fantastic Four, because what you said is very true. So many people jumped all around, and this was Nolan, somebody who already delivered Batman Begins, and people were like, I can't believe the Brokeback Mountain Gemini, about Heath Ledger, and then he's one of the greatest Joker performances ever, won an Oscar, but I mean, aside from the Oscar, all of us loved his performance. It was exactly what we had always wanted, since at least for me as a kid reading Dark Knight, it was like, it captured that malevolent, creepy, evil, chaos Joker that just was always like, even with Jack Nicholson, it was just a little too goofy and with a little bang. It's like, I want to see a Joker like that, weird makeup and murdering. It's a very scary thing. This, Doom is not that. But that's all I can say about it. Is I'm going to be like in the middle, buy and sell it. I got to wait till I see the movie.
Let's take a deep breath.
Yeah, don't go attacking Trank.
See.
You're the guy
Kebbell.
at the game who's selling tickets and buying them at the same time.
I'm making that money, son. I don't know which way to go, but the money's coming. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, at the end of the show, we're going to save a minute or two for some of your live Twitter questions. Tweet in your questions to @AMCMovieNews, and maybe we'll have time to get to yours. But for now, let's get to the mailbag. So, Ashley, what do we got?
Joe Johnson writes, my question is about Disney releasing the theatrical versions of the original Star Wars trilogy. I remember hearing rumors about this a few months ago, but nothing since. I know that it might not be an easy process for Disney to go through, but I'm sure that they would benefit from it in the end. So do you think this will happen? And if so, will it be around the same time that Episode 7 is released, or will we have to wait even longer after that?
I think they'd be fools to not re-release the original trilogy. It's just free money. It's free money because suckers like me I'm going to line up to see that movie that I've seen 400 times to see it again on the big screen. You're damn right. And so I think they're just leaving free money on the table if they don't. What is interesting is, remember, just before it was announced that Disney bought Lucasfilm had started the process of re-releasing the Star Wars movies. They started with The Phantom Menace, and they were going to do the other two prequels. As soon as Disney got their hands on it, they're like, stop. We don't want people talking about The Phantom Menace anymore. We don't want them talking about any of the prequels anymore. Just stop this re-release plan. But I think here's the interesting thing about the order of the Star Wars movies. You can now release the original trilogy, and the original trilogy only. And that's fine, because those are the three films that lead into Episode 7, right? So it works. So while I've heard nothing official about that they are going to do it, they're not, I think it would be really foolish of them not to re-release them again, because it's just free money on the table, ramps up interest in the classics and in the new 7. Seems like a no-brainer to me, I guess. Can you guys think of any downsides to this?
Absolutely not. I mean, Disney's pretty good buddies with Marvel, too, right? What does Marvel love to do when a new Marvel movie comes out is they like to show you all the previous Marvel movies leading up to that. You can go to the theater and you can see all these other movies leading up. When Avengers 2 comes out, you'll probably have to spend 2 days at the theater if you want to see every movie leading up to it.
The full Marvel marathon.
It'd be so exciting as a Star Wars fan to go, and even if you want to start with Episode 1, just go early on Thursday morning and just watch 6 Star Wars movies, and then climax, literally and figuratively, with Episode 7 at midnight.
I like that idea.
That'd be super exciting. And a lot of cleanup for the guys who work there. But
Snap.
Mopping the floor. Yeah, you know what? The original trilogy, I remember reading last year that they were talking about releasing the original unaltered 3 movies. They actually did release them as a double set on DVD. I have all of them. They put out the special editions, and then it was like a double disc thing where it was just these original films, but just not remastered and not, not just in original stereo. So they're kind of like, yeah, these are the old versions. I love those old versions, and you're right. They're throwing money away by not re-releasing them in the theaters and releasing them on Blu-ray. And you just need to do a cleanup. You need to do a 5.1 sound mix. You could even, it's not that hard. And you're right. I mean, it's like throwing away. I don't mind seeing a TIE fighter with a matte box around it. It doesn't bother me. It's part of real life.
All right, what's next?
Bobby writes, "Hi guys, love what you do. With the current financial climate we are in, I personally take great notice of movie reviews by reputable sources, with AMC being one of them. This helps me choose if I need to spend some hard-earned cash on a family trip to the movies or just wait for a DVD release, which I shall be doing now with Interstellar. My question is, have you ever really, really looked forward to a movie and then not bothered due to adverse reviews?"
Yep. This is just a background. We've talked about this before, but for those who haven't heard it, we do these reviews called spoiler reviews. But a rule that we've set up for ourselves here, because of conflict of interest and stuff like that, we are partners with the studios, right? So what we don't want to do is proactively come out and trash a film in its opening weekend. We don't want to do that. That's like I said, it's a conflict of interest for us. But at the same time, we will never say nice things about a film just because it's playing in our theaters if we don't think so. Here's a great example of that. We all, like the whole crew, we went to watch the newest Transformers movie. And I'm telling you, we were all looking forward to it. We were stoked. A bunch of us had dinner. Remember, we had dinner out there. We were all talking about, we were all excited about it.
Bots.
Even though I hated Transformers 2 and 3, I drank the Kool-Aid. I believed the Transformers 4 was going to be awesome. I thought we were all going to love it. So we all go in, and we all went in to watch it. And we had the setup ready out in the studio that we were going to come out of the movie and do our spoilers review about this great new Transformers movie. We were all psyched. And we all came out of the theater, stood in the lobby, and there was like 12 of us standing around. We were like, what the F? That sucked. Like all of us. Nobody could even say, well, maybe that one part was... No, not like all of us just universally hated it. And we were like... Well, we're not going to get up there and do a spoilers review for this, and which sucked because we were so excited about doing it. I can't remember if there was another time that we planned a spoiler review and then pulled the plug on it, but I think there was one other time.
For me, I remember I had to back out of the Amazing Spider-Man spoiler because I was all ready to do it, and I just hated the film so much that I was like, I can't really say anything positive about it other than that I got out of the theater alive.
I remember been stuck in traffic. And
I remember calling him too because we don't have to all like a movie to do a spoilers review. It's okay if we have one or two dissenting voices too, just as long as we don't across the board all hate it. So I remember calling Schnapp and saying, hey, dude, it's cool. I think I kind of liked it. I think Amy Rose gives it an okay. Dennis kind of liked it. Just coming on. It's cool. Express why you didn't like it. And I remember you saying something along the lines, John, you don't understand. I hate this movie so much, I can't even talk about it calmly.
Yes, it took like a week before I could nod at someone. What do you think? Listen here. Start going off.
Okay, man, okay. Yeah. So it does happen from time to time. All right, last question from the mailbox.
Ryan Mayers writes, hello, my favorite group of sweaty movie talking nerds. I have a question about runtime affecting box office. I work at a theater in Texas, and here we gave an equal amount of theaters to Big Hero 6 and Interstellar. Both films were selling out. However, Interstellar only had 3 to 4 showings a day per theater because of how long the film was. Theoretically speaking, if Interstellar was shorter and could fit in more showings, would it have made more money, or was it bound to make what it did regardless of its length? Is there a correlation between runtime and box office?
I don't think there's a correlation between runtime and box office, but you can't ignore the fact that if you have a 3-hour film, that over the course of the weekend, you're probably going to get 2 fewer screenings, maybe even 3 fewer screenings, right? You can't discount that entirely. Big Hero 6 made about $56 million this weekend. The adjusted number now tells us that Interstellar made 47.5 or something like that. But before we start jumping to defend Interstellar, saying, well, the only reason it made 47 is because it was 3 hours long. Well, it wasn't 3 hours long, it was 2 hours, 40 something minutes. Just the year before, The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug, which is the same runtime as Interstellar, came out, opened in roughly the same amount of theaters. It made over $72 million at the box office. Basic same runtime, roughly in the same amount of theaters, and it made almost 50% more money. So we can't, while I do think if Interstellar was a 2-hour movie, could we have seen that 47.5 bumped up a little bit? Yes. But would we have seen it bump up a significant number? The Hobbit came out it made like tons more money. Same runtime, same number, roughly same amount. I think it had a couple hundred extra screens. But so I don't think we can point to that and say there's the reason. I don't think we can do that. Anyway, do you guys see it any differently?
I love the way Ryan framed that question when he said, theoretically speaking. It's like, dude, I saw Interstellar. I've had enough with theories for a while. Just let me take a breather. I really liked Interstellar, and I think that for a weekend box office number, I think it did hurt a little bit. But I think overall, in its total box office run, it's not going to affect it at all. Because Interstellar is one of those films that people know, I need to see this in the theater or I'm just not interested. I think a lot of people want to see this film to talk about it. So I think just for opening weekend, and you're looking at it and it's like, it's getting late on Saturday. They don't have another screening. I'm not going to be able to catch it this weekend. But I think overall, it's not going to affect it at all. The people that want to see Interstellar in the theater are going to see it in the theater eventually.
And it's going to have legs. This is a movie that will have legs.
I think
It'll
the
be in
drop
theater
off
for
is
a
not
number
going
of
to
weeks.
be, I think it might be like a 25, 30% drop off at the box office at most this weekend.
Well, that's the drop off that'll happen is only because people are talking about it a little bit less, but it's not, no one said Interstellar sucks, or those that did, there were equally the amount of people that said it's amazing.
Yeah.
And a lot of us fall somewhere in the middle of that where it's like amazed by some of it, not amazed by some of the other parts, but overall, I've been saying you just should go see it in 70mm for these parts, because to see that kind of an experience is great, and I respect Nolan for pushing it that hard to be able to make those scenes that he did make. So yeah, I think it's going to be something that everybody wants to talk about while it's in the theaters. So seeing a drop off or not, I don't think I agree with you, like 20, 25 or something like that.
Yeah, plus losing to Big Hero 6 is not like that.
Right.
There's no shame in that. It's like you lost to Piranha 3 Double D. This is Big Hero 6 is a Disney movie in November, and
That's
kids
right.
want to, as soon as you see Big Hero 6, you want to run back in the theater and see it again. Interstellar, you need to process a little bit. You need
and
to
by
take
the
some
way,
time.
it took me, I totally forgot that there's an after credit scene in Big Hero 6. So I missed it the first 2 times I saw it. And then finally, it was the third time that I remembered I was told there's an after credit scene. I'm like, what? Stick around for the after credit scene when you go see
Yes,
Big Hero
It's
6.
worth it.
All right, folks, I said we'd save just a couple minutes for some live Twitter questions. We got just a couple minutes here. So, Ashley, what have you picked out of the Twitter sphere?
Ariel Noel writes, "Hey, AMC movie crew, love you all. Do you think we will see Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in Cap 3 and most likely on Cap's side?"
I don't think so, but it's certainly possible. It's certainly possible. I'm going to go out on a limb and say if I had to guess one or the other, I can only say yes or no. I'm going to guess no, but I won't be surprised if they show up. What do you think?
I'm glad she asked that. I would love to see the Avengers as they will be after Age of Ultron, segueing into Civil War, because Iron Man's in it. Why not sprinkle in the Vision and a couple other characters? Ant-Man shows up. We already got the Falcon. I think the more they add characters from the other parts of the cinematic universe, always the better, I think.
Yeah, I think Civil War. I'm from Virginia. I know a little bit of something about a Civil War, and I think that the better Civil War is when there's more people fighting on each side. So yeah, let's get everybody in there. I'd love to see that. Is it going to happen? I think it will. I think it will happen.
All right. I hope you're right, actually. Okay, what's next?
Everyone's asking about this one. Christopher Skalicki writes, "What do you think of this rumor that Sony is planning an Aunt May spinoff? I hope this isn't true."
I read something about it briefly. I don't put a lot of stock in it myself.
I want Sally Fields to play Aunt May. So be like, Norma. She's like, I'm fighting for rights, but I'm an FBI agent. Dumb.
It very well could be true. And if it is true, it's a very odd choice.
It's so stupid I can't even fathom
And
it.
by odd, I mean so stupid I can't even fathom it.
I read that this morning. I was like, Javi Arad, you dumb idiot. I just was like, what is wrong with you? I can't believe it. Well, we canceled Venom to get this Aunt May thing happening. Kind of weird. What are they eating for breakfast?
Yeah, honestly, the only reason, this has nothing about where the story's coming from or anything, that the only reason I doubt it is just because it is a monumentally stupid idea. It is who is right now hearing an Aunt May movie? Take my money. Who's doing that right now?
I think they're Agent Carter, that's working. Where's our female characters?
This is what happens when you watch the show Gotham and you have a lot of herbal supplementation during it. You're like, what would happen if there's other characters in other universes that we don't really care about? Let's see what happens there.
That probably is what happened. Avi was like,
yeah.
This Gotham thing's working out. What about Aunt May? Here you go. A couple other producers. Avi's right. Aunt May! Aunt May! Yeah, come on.
All right, let's take one more.
All right. Anna Salmoso writes, "Box office over or under 120 million for Mockingjay Part 1?"
Oh, that's a great number.
I like that line.
That is a great line. I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over. The quality of the last film. The box office of a new film is often going to be a reflection of how well received the last one was, and the last one was so good. Like, the last Hunger Games was so much better than the first one, and they just got this trajectory going. So many reasons to see it. The trailers have been fantastic so far. It's a big number. I'm going to take the over.
I'm taking the over too. I don't see a lot of competition for that movie. There's a lot of good movies in theaters right now. Interstellar and Big Hero 6 are going to continue to do well. I'm hoping Dumb and Dumber 2 is really great, but nothing is going to be in the same wheelhouse as Hunger Games. And this is, I think it's right at that time of year when everybody's going to want to go to the theater that weekend, and I think it's going over 120.
Let's say numbers. I'm going to say 140 to 150. I'll just say 140 over.
All right, you've been smoking that Aunt May stuff.
140. No more. Yeah. Aunt May. Yeah.
All right, folks, that'll do it for us for this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Don't forget, lots of great movies playing in AMC theaters right now, like Interstellar, like Big Hero 6, so many things playing right now. Like 9 out of the top 10 are all rated over 64% on the Rotten Tomatoes meter. It's an incredible time to be a film fan. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater showtime and, of course, your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video and you'll find a link to our iTunes feed so you can listen to us on the way to work or at the gym, wherever you happen to be. And also, don't forget to click the thumbs up button, click the subscribe button. I want to thank the guys sitting at the table with me. First of all, sitting right here, Mr. Mark Ellis. Mark, where can people find you online?
Add 5150 Ellison very quick. We talked about superheroes today, but the real superheroes are the veterans. Thank you guys so much for everything you do defending our freedoms here and abroad. Cannot tell you how much I appreciate it.
The one and the only Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you?
Yeah, Instagram, Twitter, at John Schnepp, and at TDOSLWH. And please send me a giant box of whatever it is that Avi Arad is taking. And yay, veterans.
And our lovely host name is Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you?
Twitter, Instagram, at Ashley Mova. Happy Tuesday, guys.
And don't forget, guys, if you are one of those brave men and women who serve this country, make sure you head on over to an AMC theater today with your military ID and get in and see a screening of Fury on Us. My name is John Campia. You can find me on all the various social media networks just at John Campia. So that'll do it for us today. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys, and until next time, bye-bye.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.